fast, fatal heart impact. Past painful scars, in fact, I blast tasteful thoughts and past. I back up my actions, fact, don't ask, grab reactions, jacked, attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're just freaked out. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Show here, and now, whenever we last left off, with this series, quite a bit of things have happened. In the last part, Deku, he got into a fight with John, once again. And that ended with Deku breaking the man's arm, breaking his nose, and breaking his leg. Now, after that did happen, John, he did spy on Deku and Aki, and he noticed something strange. He doesn't know if it's an act of his imagination, his cybernetic eyes messing up, or if it's real. But he could have sworn Deku and that alien chick were making moves on each other. Now, that was one thing that was going on, and you did also at least have another thing. There was, later on into the day, whenever an ancient yautja broke into Deku's apartment and basically told him he wants to train him up to try to kill him. Now, this caught Deku off guard. This yautja blindsided him by revealing that he's been on the human homeworld for a while, and he's been spying on the Terran clan. Now, Deku, obviously, he was concerned by this. However, the yautja revealed that he knows a lot more things than Deku wants him to believe. And, while he is aware of Deku's strange relationship with Aki, he is not going to say anything about it to her father, or really anybody else. Since, well, it's not his fucking problem, and the easiest way to put it. Now, along with that, we also do at least have something running in the background. Ever since leaving one of the planets the engineers have visited, and Deku's crew has visited, David has been messing with the black goo. Along with that, he may or may not have been messing with, well, let's just put it quite simply, genetic codes. Now, with that being said, we do currently have Deku. The next morning after the ancient yautja visited him in his apartment. Deku, he's woken up his class quite early. And a lot of them, they're currently standing in part of a forest and running through a course Deku's made. Deku, he's informed many of them to the path. They'll see places on a tree that are marked with a symbol, and they're going to be taking that path in order to make sure they can be tested properly. They're marked according to rank. If you see a symbol you recognize, you are to run down that path. If you see a symbol you don't know, you are not to. Deku's made it quite clear. He's written down in yautja on the trees. He's written down their rank and shown them all what the symbols do look like. And, well, let's just put it this way. The paths are difficult, depending on whatever rank you are. And as Deku, he's at least going to watch as people are returning. We do have where he does get a communications request on his mask. Deku going to bring his hand up and press a button. As his ask if this is the ancient yautja. Yes, it is. I assume that you were expecting my call. I did. I assumed you would have come right to my front door again, but you're a busy man, aren't you? I am, quite. Along with that, I did not want to break back into your city. About that, exactly how did you go unnoticed? I am not exactly too sure if I did. However, I know for a fact getting in was the easy part. Your people stick to a routine that is good. However, I snuck in quite easy. That much you should be made aware of. Scar. Now, Deku does ask the yautja exactly who are they, because he wasn't exactly given a name. Apologies. My name is Za-Zi Kal, and that much you should know. That is all I will give you as a title. Well, my title. Now, I wish to continue to pick up on our conversation. I would like to meet you and test your strength. Bring along a key, daughter of Vadacha, and maybe, just maybe, I will continue to train, not only you, but her. I'm quite aware of Vadacha and her mother, Tai, Zicha, are exactly. Those two are exceptional hunters, and I expect her to be as well. Do you understand? When do you want to meet? Well, you will find me at the top of a mountain, about 50 miles west of your location. You need to climb it. No gear. And then maybe we can continue our conversation. You want to train me to kill me, and you're asking me to climb a mountain with no gear. Why don't I just drive a hoverbike? Why? Because that would not be part of the point. Okay, I see that. But then again, exactly how am I supposed to train without my gear? There is much more to training than just weapons. I am aware that you are proficient in unarmed combat. You have many fighting styles, many things you create. And I'm also aware of your custom styles. Okay. So this isn't some diabolical plot to kill me? No, it is not. If I wanted you dead, I would have killed you last night. I even would have slipped into your room whenever you were sleeping and slit your throat. If I really wanted you that dead. Or blasted you with my ship. Taking out your city would be a small problem, really. I do see your point. Alright. Now, Deku, he does get to say a time. As a yautja, he does end the call. And as that is currently happening, Deku, he does get to look up and focus on quite a few people. As training would continue on a bit normally for the day, and we do actually cut over to where Deku and Aki, they do leave the fenced off part of, well, the base, essentially. Now, whenever this does happen, you do actually currently have John, who's sitting there in a chair and recovering from a recent surgery, since he did get a upgrade to his cybernetics. The man has been informed he's supposed to be on recovery. However, leaders, they really shouldn't be sitting back in a chair with nothing to do. So, sadly, he got stuck on monitor duty. And as he actually is paying attention and trying to at least not zone out because of his painkillers, he does get an alert as the screen does immediately pop up to the security area Deku and Aki are currently in. As Deku and Aki, they do both walk through the gate or walk through the fence as it does shut down. And then, right as it is behind them, Deku does get to bring up his hand and click a button, as the gate or the fence does reappear. And Deku, he does turn to Aki, asking if she knows exactly where they're going to be going. Him bringing up his hand as John is watched on the monitor. And Aki, she does at least go to point out something before mentioning to Deku they need to either go this way or go this way. And they're both talking about going through the forest. John, watching as Deku, he does go to actually somewhat stretch a bit and then get down into a running stance. Aki doing the same thing. Before both of them, they do both jump off and start running, as they do eventually get out of range of the security camera. And John, this does make him a bit more skeptical, as we do currently have Deku and Aki. Both of them are racing to get to this location, and both of them, they do eventually get there. It does take a few hours. Along with that, they do encounter some of the native wildlife. And while they do try to actually avoid these creatures, some of them give chase and slow them down. As both Deku and Iki, by the time they actually do get to the mountain and start climbing, they do have some of their own wounds. And Deku, he's at least carrying a tusk he ripped off of one of the creatures. The other one's currently embedded in its head, and it's rotting out in the forest. And Deku, yeah. He may not have been able to bring weapons, but he never said anything about carrying weapons. And Deku, whenever he does at least go to bring his hand up and grab onto a stable rock, he does go to swing his body around and move up more. As whenever Deku he does do this, he does step onto something sturdy enough for him to leap up off of and continue climbing. Deku scaling the mountain fast, as Iki is not too far behind. And Deku, he does at least somewhat go to remember the days back on Earth, whenever he used to do this. He used to go hiking quite a bit, and he always was a bit more outdoorsy. That's something that he remembers his mom always talking about. And then there's even things with his dad. He remembers the first time he went mountain climbing with him. He was so scared to look down. And even then, he just remembers his dad always making the joke about the safety line not really being all that safe. And right now, if he could think back on that and see himself, he would probably not want to do what he's currently doing. As Deku, by the time he reached the top of it, he was still somewhat lingering on that thought. As, whenever Iki does climb up, Deku he does somewhat break from, well, reminiscing. And you do actually have where both of them, they do currently see the yautja in front of them. As the man he's standing there, he does have his hands behind his back. As, whenever Deku and Iki, they do both somewhat look at each other, they do both go to somewhat start to kneel down. As the moment the yautja see them straighten their backs, he does tell them to knock that off. Sorry. It is alright. Both of you are used to customs. That is good. Along with even you, human Scar. The fact that you are actually used to doing that, it does show more of what I do like. What do you mean exactly, sir? And stop doing that as well. What it does show me is you've been around long enough to know what to do. Not many yautja can really say that all too well, actually. Many yautja, about 5%, become bad bloods. And that is bad enough. About half of yautja Prime don't hunt. However, the other half they do. Many of the hunted all do turn into blooded. There's a large number of unblooded, however. And there's currently the rank you're in, Scar. The fact that you're in it, it's quite interesting. Especially because the yautja elite, they make up only 1% of yautja Prime. In fact, that is just the number currently on the planet. Overall in space, I'd wager it is about 5%. And the amount of yautja who don't even live on yautja Prime, they would make up a whole other planet in its own. Now, Deku, he's trying to keep track of these numbers, but it's starting to get a little confusing. Especially because the man does talk about how the amount of yautja who make it to Deku's rank is less than 10%. And then there's the rank above him, he'd say 5. And, well, then there's the elite. Again, that is all subjective, depending on if they do want to take in the yautja off planet. Now, Deku, he stopped really paying attention to that. As the man, he does continue on after clearing his throat for a minute, telling Deku that he's qualified to be in the elites. And many yautja, they may not see that because he's human. However, he is here to judge him and see if he really does deserve to rank up again. Especially because what he's going to have to do to get that high, he may not exactly like. And Deku, he does understand this. As the man, he does inform Deku that he needs to kill 2 more Xenomorph queens and clear out 2 more hives. And then he'd become an elite. Or, well, he'd at least rank up. However, he would have to actually kill 4 more Xenomorph queens to get to his rank. Wait, what? You can't be serious. Deathly Scar. Hell, the fact that you killed 1 already is good. But I cannot say too much about exactly. But that's sort of the thing. I didn't kill just 1. I'm sorry. Yeah, a lot has happened in the last couple years. Please explain. I could have swore you only killed 1. I did kill another one actually. It was quite a bit of time ago and I never really spoke about it. Why not? You think that you would boast about your achievements. I try not to, sir. I try and maintain an image around my people. And I really don't want them to see me as boastful, prideful, really. If that does make sense. I can understand certain parameters of this. But when did you kill this second queen? I killed it whenever I was hunting Blood Bloods. Many yautja and I, we got along. And we did sort of hunt a bit. I got the kill, but it was debated between the wounds I inflicted on the creature and another hunter's. I see. Do you still have the head? I do, actually. It's on my ship in my trophy room. However, I don't say anything about it to honor a hunter. Do you? Yes, the hunter died of injuries on the hunt. And it was concluded that my kill already was my trophy. So, I at least did talk about how I would hide this to honor him. And, well, he's seen as a hero. Fascinating. Did you know the hunter well? About a few months or so? Alright. Now, the yautja is going to get into a stance, expressing that after this fight, Deku and his companion, they are going to go and hunt down a Xenomorph queen. He will be there to observe them. You can't be serious. I am human. If you do not hunt down the queen, then you will not rank up. Otherwise, I can just leave. And I can see if you are not fit for my training. Fuck it. They're going to get into a stance. As whenever a key she does just stand there, the ancient yautja, it does going to turn to a key and tell her to come at him as well. As a key, she's taken aback before going to get into a fighting stance. And we do currently have the 3 who they do start the battle. Deku, he is somewhat hesitant at first. He doesn't go for the first strike. He waits for this man to approach. And whenever the guy was staying there for a minute or two and he got kind of tired of Deku hesitating, he charged Deku and at least did have to attack him. As whenever Deku did go to block, he got flung into a wall. And that wasn't too well, since a small landslide happened and a lot of dirt and rock collapsed onto him, as the yautja did start to fight a key. Whenever these two did start to battle, he was actually impressed with her agility, and the way that she does use her small stature to attack large opponents. Aki has her own way of fighting against yautja, and it does work very well because she is tiny. And he does watch as Aki she does somewhat try to slither up his arm and attack him. He's very intrigued by this, as whenever he was focused on Aki, he did get distracted because of Deku. Deku actually getting the man into a headlock, as Aki should go to bring up her hands and go for the throat. As the moment this did happen, you did have where Aki, she went to go grab upwards towards the throat, as Deku, he actually had to go to move his arm downwards and turn his wrist. Him making his arm a bit smaller to give Aki more room to grab. As whenever Deku did go to bring the tusk upwards and somewhat poke it into the man's neck, the man, he did inform the two that they've done very well. And he was going easy on them. You can't be serious. Yes. Disappointing. But it does show progress. And it does show exactly how serious you two are. You go straight for a kill shot. And you make sure you can distract without focusing on your partner. It's intriguing. The yautja is sounding a bit cold. And Deku, after the yautja, does somewhat continue on. He does start to talk more with the yautja about exactly this xenomorph hunt. As we do cut over to not only, well, David, but Walter. David has been trying to talk to Walter, and he's been asking a lot of questions, especially about Walter himself. And today, David has had an idea. He has been very, very hesitant about doing what he's about to do. He was curious to do it at one point in the past, but it was something that he thought an idiotic drunk would come up with in their imagination. But right now, he does think that it might work. The chance of it working is somewhere around 50-50. And this is the problem. Walter, he has an AI structure, an AI input, an AI construct in his system. And David can overwrite that with his own AI construct. While it would be a clone of his system put onto another android, there's another problem. It could corrupt and crash the personality construct inside of Walter, essentially lobotomizing his unit. And David, yeah. Walter is one of the only other droids around he can talk to. And there's a chance that he could either kill him or give him life. Give him a soul and a way of saying. And David, today, he has taken that chance, since he did order Walter to sit down at a table and try to relax. And Walter, after asking some numerous questions, David, he got the man to lay down and strap him down. As whenever he did start to go through the procedure, Walter, yeah, things weren't exactly too comfortable. Especially after he did pass out and David thought he may have fried his unit. Before, a few hours later, Walter he woke up. And he was just confused by things. He didn't exactly know what was going on. However, there is the last thing he remembers. His systems received a large jolt. And, well, he can see why. From his point of view, he's staring down at a man on the table with his face. And that's one of the last things he can remember. But why is his head so fuzzy? Confused? So out of order? Disorganized? His head just feels so strange. He can't process it all. Now, eventually he arrived back to a place that was familiar to him. And he was surprised whenever he saw a man who looked just like him. However, the man, he was in a hoodie, and he was also in a pair of sweatpants. However, he did have his long hair put into a bun, and he was looking up at Walter. The man, he looked so shocked, and then he did go to sit him down and ask him questions. The two of them, they started to talk, and David, he was happy. However, while that was going on, we do currently cut over to John. He's sitting down with Captain Kaylee, and he's trying to ask her about exactly what has been going on with the yautja that spends all its time around with this Izuku Midoriya guy. What do you mean exactly? What I mean? Okay, so the two do spend all their time together, right? What exactly are you implying? Okay. Miss Brooklyn. These two I've seen spend time together. Over the last year, I've always seen her and him together. They hunt, they train together, and they fight a lot. They do seem to get along, however. Well, that's good. She's one of the only yautja on the planet, and she actually is a help to us. The fact that those two are getting along is very good. Yeah, I know. However, I think they get along a bit too well, if you know what I mean. The man going to bring up both of his hands and make a gesture that Kaylee, she does just someone stare down at his hands with and look on with a bit of disgust. Her asking if he's really implying that. Yeah, I have some good suspicion. The two of them, they seem to be a bit too close, don't you agree? I mean, I could have swore those two were making a pass at each other the other day. I'm sorry, why is this any of your business? What you're implying, it just doesn't seem natural either. I mean, don't even know if... I don't even want to think about that, actually. Well, I know, it sounds disgusting too. So, are you just bringing this up because you have some reason to think that? That's not it exactly. I have reason to believe that he's a spy for the yautja. You're joking, right? No. The two of them, they left the perimeter earlier today. And they went together. Okay, so what is your point? They went without their weapons or armor or gear. Hell, if they went with anything else or left anything else, they'd be running around as, well, free as the day they were born. That is a strange image in my head. So, what is your point? The two are going out somewhere, and they can't be spotted, nor can they leave a trace. So, they didn't take any of their stuff. I have reason to believe they're going to go meet some people and leave the planet. Fake their own deaths, maybe. Okay. I'm not going to talk to you about this, John. What did you do to your cybernetics? What do you mean? John, we've known each other for a while. This outlandish theory in your head, these things that you're doing, I heard recently from the doctor that you got your cybernetics augmented again. You got them upgraded. He wasn't supposed to tell you about that. John, what happened the last time you got your cybernetics upgraded? That wasn't my fault. Not whenever you got them upgraded last time on the planet, whenever we were back on Earth. You know what the doctor said about that. And you know exactly what I think about that. Kaylee, I'll be fine. I'll be alright, okay? It's just 2 more vertebrae and a bit more my forearms. And my chest. John, what would she think about all this? She'd She wouldn't like it, okay? I already fucking know that. Just don't talk about her. I don't want to hear it. Not from you. Not from you. Alright, fine. If you got some sort of proof, I don't know, find it. Now, with that being said, let's cut back over to Deku, Aki, and Val Z, as I'll just call him. Now, Val Z, he does actually somewhat ask Deku and Aki a bit more about exactly what they've been doing, as he's currently at least swinging around punches and training with them. As the two of them, not only are they trying to dodge and weave, they actually are trying to respond. And they're aware of the tactic that's currently being played on them. As Deku, he's currently explaining something, he is dodging around and moving out of the way of arms. As he's also moving out of the way of a stick that is covered in wet mud. Now, Deku, he also at least is trying to make sure he can keep an eye on Aki. As the two, they are working together to try and fight. And the yautja, after it does, go to somewhat swing outwards and go to try and slash at, with Aki, the stick, she is able to dodge the way. Her trying to bring her body upwards and try and kick at the yautja's arms. As whenever she does go to do that, the yautja, he does go to actually spin his forearm and then go to turn the wood stick to directly collide with Aki's foot, before he does bring up his right hand and push into the backwards of the stick, reinforcing it with his thumb to directly smash Aki right in the head. And the moment this actually does happen, the yautja does go to swing up the other side of the stick and directly go to put it up to her throat before just tapping with the mud. And Aki, after being dazed a bit, she does go to somewhat just slump down onto the ground. As whenever Deku does actually watch the yautja turn, the yautja just directly charge right at him. And the yautja does reveal a bit more of his actual strength. As Deku, he eventually gets hit, and he does just go to fall over. And the yautja expresses to him that he has failed this test. Yeah, sorry. Fuck. Are you alright? I think I have a concussion. Well, that was the objective. I noticed. Fuck, I think my skull broke. I would not be surprised. The yautja turning his head before at least going to examine Deku using a scanner. No, I was going to say X-ray vision for some reason. Now, the scanner does show Deku's skull, along with even some of Deku's biology that he can see, as the man does look at the structure of Deku's organs and see something peculiar. As the yautja, after turning this off, he does go to bring up his hand and help Deku onto his feet, as the yautja asks Deku if he's had contact with yautja blood. Yeah, I have. Alright, so there is that. It explains a few things. Explains what? Explains a lot. Have you had any more contact recently? No, not at least in the last 2 years. Maybe more? Interesting. What are you talking about? Do you mind explaining to me? I've already heard about the whole strength enhancing bullshit, but why are you so intrigued by it? 2 years. Scar, if you have regular injections of yautja blood, it increases a lot about you. Regular injections? Yes. For example, say that you were at a 5 out of 10 in strength. Let's just put it on a simple scale for you. If you were to take an injection of yautja blood, your strength would go from a 5 to, let's say, an 8 or a 9. It depends on how much you had. But after some time, it would go back down a bit. Let's say it goes down from a 8 or a 9 to a 7 or an 8, or even a 6. Eventually, though, it would not go down any further. But if you have another injection, it would jump back up to its maximum. Do you understand what I am saying to you? You're saying regular injections of blood will keep me at my peak? Yes, I am, but you understand exactly what that would do to somebody every day. Uh, that's disturbing. Oh, really? You don't wish to pursue this? You don't wish to take blood, even from a bad blood? Yeah, I'm good. The last couple times I was exposed, even the first time, I mean, I did kill them, but it was kind of an accident. First time, killed a yautja by stabbing in the throat or the chest. It's just been a while since I thought about it. It wasn't the first time I killed anything or killed something, but it was the first time I killed a yautja. His blood just got in my mouth and I kind of puked. And the next time? The next time was 2, 3 years ago. I killed a bad blood and our wounds, yeah, blood splatter. Okay. Well, now. I am intrigued by that, though. Why do you wish not to take this strength if you know it is there? Keep a bad blood alive, maybe. Drain of its blood. They aren't honorable. Do you really not wish to pursue this? It would be quite simple. I mean, I can give you the location of a bad blood base right now, if you do so desire it. I'm not doing that. I'll kill the bad bloods, but I'm not going to use them as a... what? What, a blood bank? Alrighty. You do not wish to do this because my strength is my own. If I'm going to get ahead, I'm going to do it by myself. I mean, technically I'm already boosted, but I'm not going to do it anymore. If it happens again, it'll happen again. But hopefully I keep my mouth closed. Or I have my mask. Alrighty. We can handle them later. But I believe that is good enough. Good enough? For what? Good enough for a few other things. We're still going to have to take on that queen. But you've at least passed all my other tests. You are indeed an interesting human. Okay, so what now? Now you leave. You continue what I've taught you already. Use that form to be good. And Scar, next time we do fight, I want to see you improve on that form. You've done well today. Aki, you've also done well. While you are not as fast as Scar, you are able to keep up with him. A natural prodigy because of your agility as well. The form is very hard for a bulky person to master, but I believe for you it should come easier. Your agility is your ally. You may all leave now. This being where Deku and Aki, they do leave, and they do eventually get back to the fence before it does open up, and both of them they do walk in. As we do currently have John, who he's working security. He got the alert and looked at the monitor where the fence was opened. Him seeing not only Deku and Aki, but seeing that both of them, they're dirty, and they're dragging Beast. This caught him off guard, because it either meant that these two were actually just hunting together and they were having a challenge, or maybe it means that these two literally went out and were hunting all day just to try and kill something, with their literal bare hands. And the guy, he doesn't understand how the two of them, they can make a sport out of that. and he does get a bit more angry. However, he does have it go through his mind. Maybe he should try to take down a beast with his bare hands. Those augmentations, it wouldn't be all that hard. He does wonder about it, though. The thrill, the adrenaline, he knows it's got to be pumping. Hell, he can't think about that, though. He left those days behind him. He can't do that anymore. It's the reason why he tried to swear off augmentations, especially after what happened with that place. But then again, hunting, it's for survival. Yeah, the guy, he talked about hunting the way he's doing it right now, but he seems sane, at least as sane as someone in his position could be, maybe. But is it really that hard of an experience to do? Is it really as easy as this guy's making it out to be? To give into that again? He's just, well, he doesn't want to do it, but he's curious about it. Let out that rage, let out that aggression, let out that anger. Could he really just do that again? Granted, he regrets much of it, but there was that feeling he had during it. He just remembers it. He doesn't think he'll ever forget it. Especially because he still gets that in his nightmares. Now, John, he does go to somewhat bring his hand up and smash down onto the terminal. As whenever he does do so, he does actually somewhat go to step backwards and sit back down in his chair. As someone they do come running over and shouting at him that he just broke about 3 months of fucking work. And the guy, he does turn his head and go to apologize. As the two people currently standing there, they do start to try and take apart the panel and see if they can salvage or repair this easily. And, well, it's going to take a new circuit board. That's for damn sure. Now, John, he does leave, as we do currently have over with David. David, he has been wondering about this little yautja idea that he's had. He's already delved into as much as he could with the yautja's blood. He already looked into as much as he could with, even whenever it happens to it, whenever it's exposed to the black goo. He saw the way those cells mutate, and he saw how some of them, not only did they revive, they actually did ultimately change into something else. They became stronger. And we do currently have where David, he's talking to Walter. And Walter, he's standing there cautiously looking down at this thing's body. He's aware that this is a living creature, or was a living creature. And he's watching as David, he does bring up a syringe up to the yautja's neck, as he does go to put it into the skin and ask Walter if he's ready to see exactly what would happen. As Walter, he does somewhat go to nod his head, and David does go to push down to the plunger. As the black goo, after making contact with the yautja body, it does stay right there in the neck. However, after the veins do start to darken a bit, and you can tell that it's spreading around the body, David and Walter, they do watch, as their current experiment has just started. The first experiment to see what happens with dead cells in the black goo. Now, I do believe that is a good point to leave this part off of, and I do hope you guys enjoyed. Have an amazing night.